1923 has ended recently, and it definitely affected the Dutton family tree, which is something we've been theorizing about for years. Right now, Spencer and Alex's son, John, seems to be John III's grandfather, but here's the thing. From what we know, Spencer's son is the third generation, whereas we know for a fact that John III, played by Kevin Costner, is the fifth. So what about the fourth generation? Like, what happened in between? Let's start from the beginning, shall we? First generation. To understand the first four generations properly, we need to take a look at 1883 and 1923. Now, these shows reveal 6 members of the first generation, which are Margaret, James, Kara, Jacob, and Claire. Margaret and James Dutton. James is the patriarch of 1883. He's a farmer from Tennessee who wants to build a new life out west with his family. Along with his sister, niece, wife, and their children, James set out with a wagon train from Fort Worth, Texas. Honestly, 1883 is my favorite show in this universe. But anyways, his wife Margaret is the confident and uncompromising matriarch we've come to love and adore. She's a keeper for sure. She's a strong leader and a protective mother who just knows the best. If you haven't figured it out yet, I'm basically in love with her. Eventually, James and Margaret settle on a homestead in Montana. The couple lose one of their children, Elsa, but they also have 2 sons, John Sr. and Spencer. In 1839, during a hunt for horse thieves, James dies, and Margaret writes a letter to James' older brother and asks for his help to run the ranch in Montana. By the time Jacob arrives at the Dutton ranch, Margaret dies from hypothermia. Kara and Jacob Dutton. Here comes my favorite Dutton couple. Jacob and Kara settle in Montana after James and Margaret die. Jacob becomes the patriarch while Kara is the matriarch of the house. The couple don't have their own children, but they raise John Sr. and Spencer as their own. As they make the ranch so much better after taking over, Jacob becomes the commissioner of the Livestock Association, which is the position the Duttons have held ever since. Both Jacob and Kara are natural leaders. Kara even takes care of the business while Jacob is wounded fatally in season 1. In 1923, the couple sacrifice a lot to keep the land in the family. Claire Dutton. Claire is James and Jacob's sister. She tags along with James's family in 1883. In the show, we know that she's a widow. During their dangerous journey, she loses her daughter, Mary Abel. After this tragic death, she unalives herself. I still can't forget that scene. It's so powerful, even though I never even loved Claire or Mary Abel. Here's a fun fact. Claire is played by Dawn Olivieri, who appears in Yellowstone as Sarah Atwood. Second generation. Let's move on to the second generation. Most of these characters are from the show 1923, but there's one special character, which is none other than Elsa Dutton. Elsa is our soft spot. She is the daughter of James and Margaret, and she's the reason why the Duttons settled in Montana in the first place. During their journey, Elsa gets shot by an arrow, and as she's wounded deadly, her parents decide to settle in where she takes her last breath because neither him nor Margaret wants to stay away from her. Gosh, I had goosebumps even saying these words. Emma and John Dutton. John was the only child of Margaret and James when they settled in Montana. In 1923, we keep watching him as an adult, which is a blessing, to be honest. But Taylor Sheridan can't stand seeing the characters he created happy, so John gets killed in an ambush by the family's enemies. Emma is John's wife, and after she loses her husband, she decides that there's no point in living without him. The hell Dutton women have been going through just breaks my heart. But anyways, the couple has a son called Jack, who belongs to the third generation, Alex and Spencer Dutton. All right, here's a fan favorite couple. Spencer is Margaret and James's youngest child and the young brother of John and Elsa. He's basically raised by Kara and Jacob as his parents were deceased when he was little. In 1923, he's the hero of the show. He serves in World War I, then moves to Africa where he meets her wife. After Kara lets him know that the family needs him as their ranch is under attack, the couple decide to go to Montana. but they are forced to separate as they promise to meet in Bozeman. In season 2, we see their separate journeys and the hell they've been through. Shortly after they reunite, Alex gives birth to their son and dies. We learn that Spencer never remarries but has a son from a widow. Spencer dies in 1969 on the grave of his wife. Both of them deserved so much better, and I'm so angry at Taylor Sheridan for not giving them a happy ending. Third generation, all right, we've come this far. It's time to talk about the third generation, Elizabeth and Jack Dutton. Jack is the son of John and Emma, and we get to meet him in 1923. Now, it's possible that Jack might be a nickname for John, meaning that he could be the grandfather of John III, but I have another theory about this, and we'll talk about it in a minute. Just stick with me. In 1923, Jack gets married to Elizabeth. After she has a miscarriage, she again gets pregnant with Jack's baby. Sadly, Jack gets killed and leaves Elizabeth kinda on her own with a baby in her belly. After his death, Elizabeth leaves the ranch and returns to Boston to meet with her family. In the show, we don't get to learn what happened to her or her baby afterwards. Spencer's sons, Spencer and Alex's son, whose name is John, gets to spend less than a day with her mother, which is so depressing on so many levels. But anyway, Spencer also has another son from a widow, but we haven't seen him yet or know his name. I believe we'll see Spencer's sons in 1944 and maybe in 1969. Now, the rumor has it that Spencer's son, John, is the grandfather of John III. But in this case, it complicates things a bit because we know for a fact that John III is the 5th generation. 4th generation. Okay, this is the missing generation, considering that John III belongs to the 5th generation. Let's dive in. Elizabeth and Jack's child. As I mentioned, Elizabeth was pregnant with Jack's child when she left the ranch. As their child belongs to the 4th generation, it makes sense that he should be John III's grandfather. This could be the twist in 1944. Maybe Spencer and Alex's son won't be able to survive. The final episode didn't reveal much about his fate, and since he was a premature baby, he could develop certain diseases, which may eventually lead him to die. But what do you think? Elizabeth could return the ranch with his child in 1944. Spencer's grandchildren. If Spencer and Alex's son survives, then we'll get to see him in his early 20s in 1944, meaning that he and his love interest can make a baby, which would be Spencer's grandchild. Even though he can't survive, then we still have Spencer's other son, right? Okay, that sounds pretty cruel. I'm sorry. 5th generation. All right, we finally made it to Yellowstone. Evelyn and John III Dutton. John III, the uncompromising man who's willing to do anything just to keep the land in the family, has a complicated relationship with his children. But his wife Evelyn, she was the great love of his love. She died in a horseback riding accident when their children were young. And John III, after Kevin Costner leaves the show between the first and second halves of season 5, we see that his character is murdered by a contract killer hired by Jamie Dutton and Sarah Atwood. Peter Dutton, Peter is John III's brother. Sadly, he only lived about 18 hours since his heart wasn't strong enough because of the early birth. Still, he's a part of the family, so I thought we shouldn't skip him just because he didn't have his own story. 6th generation. This generation is all about John III's children, Rip and Beth Dutton. Beth is the only daughter of John Dutton, and even though she has a softer side, for sure, we mostly see her being relentless. She dedicated her life to her father, which makes her seem like the perfect child. But we all know that she's not that perfect, right? Anyways, she's married to Rip, John III's right-hand man. He too dedicated himself to John III. This couple is also pretty strong if you ask me. They don't have a child, but they kinda adopted Carter, who belongs to the 7th generation. In Yellowstone, Beth kills Jamie to take his father's revenge, and Rip cleans up the mess she makes. And oh, the couple will also have a spin-off show. Monica and Casey Dutton. Casey is the youngest, who is a former Navy SEAL. Unlike Beth, Casey wants to live his own life without the pressure of being a Dutton. He's married to Monica, who was raised on the Broken Rock Reservation. They have a child together named Tate. In season 5, she loses her unborn son in a car accident while going to the hospital to give birth. This couple too will have their own spinoff. Lee Dutton, as the oldest Dutton sibling. Unfortunately, we only get to watch him on screen for a short while. Lee gets killed during a confrontation with the Broken Rock Reservation in the very first season, Jamie Dutton. Please don't come after me for adding him to the list, but Jamie is raised as a Dutton. He's the adopted child of John III and Evelyn, and he doesn't get to know that he's adopted until he meets his biological father. We hate him, and I'm glad he's no longer in the picture. 7th generation Carter. Now, I feel pretty bad for this boy, and I'm not sure if he belongs to this list, but here we go. He's been through a lot, and both Beth and Rip were treating him a bit weird, if you ask me. It's like they want him around but never fully embrace or adopt him. In Beth and Rip's spinoff, we'll see him with them though, but we still don't know if they adopted him or just took him with themselves for, labor. Jamie Dutton Jr., this one is pretty controversial as well, since many people don't consider Jamie as a Dutton. But, well, I just wanted to include him. I don't think we'll get to see him in the future, but what do you think? Do you believe he has a potential to get into Tate's business somehow? Tate Dutton, he's the youngest member of the original Dutton family, and we don't know much about his future. Will he get the land back someday from the reservation? I doubt it, but I also believe we'll get to learn more through the Casey and Monica spinoff. Well, that's all from me for now. Who do you think is John III's father? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel for more videos like this one, and watch this video next.